Joining us in the studio today is Nebraska's National FFA Officer candidate, that is Libby Wilkins. Libby, great to have you here. Tell us about your agriculture background leading you into the National FFA organization.
Yeah, I grew up in Ainsworth, Nebraska, a rural community, so was able to see agriculture from a young age. My family owns and operates a grain elevator just outside of Ainsworth, and we also do a little bit of farming and ranching, so was able to see a wide variety of agriculture from a really young age and have been just able to grow in that ag knowledge through my involvement in FFA as well.
So you're involved obviously on the chapter level, went on to serve as a Nebraska FFA state officer. Was it during that year that made you think, hey, I want to continue doing this at the national level?
Yeah, I would say it was at national convention when I was a state officer, and I was looking up on stage, and those were the national officers that I'd had the opportunity to actually interact with. And at that point, I was thinking, boy, that would be cool. That would be really cool, a really cool thing to do. And then just throughout the year, it morphed, and I realized that I really love doing the things that a state officer does that a national officer would also do. I love facilitating, I love teaching, I love connecting with people. And so, yeah, I would say it was at that national convention that that was when it first clicked that this would be really cool.
So there are 6 national FFA officers that represent all of the membership, and they do a lot of traveling, I hear. But tell me about some of the details. What is the role of a national FFA officer?
At a very broad level, it is to support FFA members, 950,000 FFA members throughout the United States. And that comes in a lot of different forms. It's through teaching workshops, it's through having conversations with them in the hallways at their state conventions, it's giving keynote addresses, chapter visits, all of those very logistical things that a national officer has the opportunity to do, but very high level, it's just about supporting FFA members, state officers, chapter members.
And you are the Nebraska candidate to be one of those national FFA officers. Big week of interviews. Talk about the process of running for national FFA office.
Yeah, so the very first interview, I guess, is actually just a video submission. So that video submission happens prior to flying to Indianapolis, and then there are 3 rounds of interviews in person before the advancement cut. So those 3 interviews are mostly just personal interviews and very just logistical questions about who you are as a leader, who you are as a person, and could the nominating committee see you filling the shoes of a national officer? And then the advancement is on Monday night, and then it really gets into what a national officer would be doing. So there's some facilitating conversations about agriculture, media interviews, all that good stuff that happens after the advancement.
I have to imagine this has been a grueling process leading up to, like I said, that week-long process of applying to be a national officer. Talk about some of the prep work in the state.
Mm-hmm. I've had some great advisors and people who have just come alongside me and supported me. I was named the Nebraska National Office candidate in May, and really from then on it was prepping, whether that was prepping just through learning my leadership styles, learning who I was as a candidate, to having interviews with industry professionals. I have just been so blessed. I've looked around at multiple points during this process and just thought, boy, this is really cool that I get to be in this room with this person who is so wise and knows so much about agriculture. So it has been a grueling process, but all the while it's just been so surreal and so cool.
So it sounds like there's about 35 folks running for the 6 positions, as I mentioned, that will hold the title National FFA Officer. But Libby, for you, what would you bring to that role?
You know, I am very much an activator and a people person. I just love connecting with a wide variety of people, whether that's advisors who feel like they need a word of encouragement to get through the day, or if that's state officers who are in a leadership position at their state associations, or if that is a 7th grade ag student, a 7th grade FFA member who's just doing their first competition. I love connecting with people, and that's the main thing that I think I would bring to this role, as well as on a team. I'm very much the goer, the doer, the just roll things forward, and I think that's another just piece that I'd be able to bring to a national office team.
Well, again, Libby, we wish you the best of luck during this this process of applying to be a National FFA Officer. Thanks for the time today.
Thanks, Bryce.
That is Libby Wilkins. Again, she's a Nebraska National FFA Officer candidate ready to represent the state of Nebraska on the national level.